KVUE political reporter Mark Wiggins is here in the studio with us tonight, along with representatives from both parties to break this all down for us. Mark?
Well, that's right, Terry Tyler. I'm joined by Democrat Ed Espinosa with Progress Texas and Republican Ray Sullivan with Sullivan Public Affairs. Ray, let's start with the Republicans. Now, you worked for Governor Perry in the governor's office and on the presidential campaign. Looking at Cruz tonight, big win in Texas, win in Oklahoma. Is this enough for him to go home and make the case tomorrow that this is a two-man race between himself and Donald Trump?
I think we can all be sure that Cruz will make that case, and I think he does have strong grounds to do it. He's going to come out of Texas and the primaries tonight with well over 100 delegates in the best shape, really, to go head-to-head against Trump. It remains to be seen whether other candidates will fall to the wayside. We got Florida and Ohio coming up that will keep Kasich and Rubio in. But Cruz had a good night, and it will make a strong case to be the other-than-Trump guy starting tomorrow.
Right, Ed?
Look, he won his home state. He's supposed to win his home state. Bernie Sanders did, too, on a night that might not necessarily be great for Bernie Sanders. But the point is that there are still too many candidates in the race and no natural alternative to Donald Trump. After Trump's big wins tonight, Republicans might be stuck with him.
So, Ed, you've also done work for the DNC. When you look at the Clinton campaign, I think this was the night that she really wanted to put this thing away. Did she do that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, these are convincing victories of double digits. And by double digits, we're not talking about 10 points, but in some places as many as 30 points. This is a strong win for her. They're statement wins. She's got 6 states already, maybe a couple more coming in tonight. And it may change the type of campaign that we see from here on out. I think people really doubted her campaign. I think they questioned how strong the candidacy was. I think you saw answers to both of those things tonight. And it may not be long before we start talking about vice presidential running mates for her.
If Clinton is a shoo-in for the Democratic nomination, then you have to say Trump is a juggernaut. At this point, Ray, does it look like there's anyone that is capable of taking that train off the tracks, or is that a freight train with nothing to stop it?
If this were any other candidate than Trump, we would be saying this is all over. And it probably is all over. Trump will probably be the nominee. It remains to be seen whether the other-than-Trump folks can coalesce behind one candidate and make a strong run between now and when the delegate count gets across the finish line.
And that's a dicey question, too, whether or not the sort of establishment lane gets behind Trump. Is there any room, any path at this moment for, say, a Rubio or even a Cruz with his big wins tonight?
I think the so-called establishment lane, conservatives and folks who've actually been elected to office before, will be looking for someone to get behind. It may end up being Ted Cruz. Rubio sounds tonight like he's going to continue to make his case. He had one little win tonight, but the path is awfully narrow, and it's hard to see how that's going to be successful.
It may be too little too late. The problem with the nomination process for the Republicans is that it now goes from proportional allocation of delegates to winner-take-all on March 15th. And if there's no clear alternative, there's no way somebody can compete in a winner-take-all system when they can't even get a single delegate for coming in second place.
Ed, you look at Bernie Sanders in the Democratic race. It was not a good night for him, but he's done some pretty extraordinary things. Last-minute rally in Austin over the weekend drew about 10,000 people. So you have to give him a hand, give him credit for the draw that he's been able to have. What does he do from here? Why stay in the race if you're him?
So the good thing that Bernie has been able to do in this race, other than bring important issues to the table, such as income inequality and issues with the banks and Wall Street, those are all good subjects that we weren't hearing as much about. He brought those into the conversation. He brought in a lot of young people. He basically expanded our electorate in the primary, and I think that's a really good thing. The reason you stay in the race is because, unlike the Republican nomination, Democrats have a proportional delegate representation system, so he can take this all the way to the end. He can take it to the California primary in June, and he is still going to get delegates in every primary, even so long as he gets something around 15%. It's feasible that he will get that. And come convention time, he can still talk about his issues, he can still make the case, and have delegates in the room to hear him.
All right, Ed Espinosa with Progress Texas, Ray Sullivan with Sullivan Public Affairs. Thanks a bunch tonight. Back to you, Terry Tyler.
Always great perspective,
Yeah,
Mark.
fascinating stuff. Thank you, guys.